The night Donovan's pampered side piece showed up at our door, he was, surprisingly, in the mood to stay home with me. He said, "Raven, you're a good wife." Of course I was a good wife. No other woman could stomach her husband keeping a mistress. But I could. Unfortunately, the pampered side piece didn't appreciate my tolerance. Banking on Donovan's affection, she smashed my front door to bits. Skylar was downstairs sobbing her heart out, and the tenderness in Donovan's eyes vanished. He stood, apologizing as he buttoned his shirt. "Raven, I'm sorry. Skylar's health is fragile, crying like this could make her sick." His voice was frantic, worried sick about Skylar. He even fastened the buttons wrong. I rose and straightened his collar, gently reminding him, "Skylar's sensitive. Go coax her properly, don't break her heart." Donovan looked at me for a long moment, then squeezed my hand and pulled me into his arms. He said, "Raven, this is unfair to you." I buried my face in his shoulder and hugged him back tightly. I said, "Donovan, I'm not afraid of being wronged. Just don't ever say you don't want me." He promised, "Raven, I'll never not want you." That single sentence was enough. I walked Donovan downstairs and watched him carry Skylar away. Skylar, draped over his shoulder, shot me a smug, cold smile. And I simply gazed back at her, softly, gently. Only a mistress desperate to climb to the throne flaunts her victory. I only need to keep my seat as Sterling. As soon as they reached the gated enclave, my phone pinged with a message from the property manager, "Sterling is home." Relieved, I grabbed my car keys and drove to another luxury compound across town. The cliffside villa facing the sea, mine. A man lived there. His name was Leo. Very young. A 35-year-old woman and a 23-year-old man are separated by 12 years as distinct as a river carved in stone. Youth truly is unmatched. Apparently both men and women are powerless against it. I read Donovan's affair 3 years ago. We had just survived the 7-year itch. I thought we'd cleared the biggest hurdle. Ridiculously, that was when I learned Skylar existed. She had been 20, secretly kept by Donovan for 2 radiant years, fresh as a newly peeled lotus root, while I traced the faint lines gathering at my own eyes. I was 10 years older than Skylar. 30. The doctor said natural conception would be difficult, we'd need IVF. And at that crucial moment, I found out about her. Donovan told me, "Raven, as long as you can accept Skylar, you'll forever be my wife, even if you can't give me children." He seemed to forget I had been pregnant once. In the early days of Sterling, while I sprinted from investor to investor for him, too exhausted to care for myself, a child slipped in unnoticed. That baby arrived quietly and left in a hemorrhage, gone before we even knew it existed. Donovan held me then and said, "Raven, I'm sorry. I didn't take care of you." He said, "Don't be afraid. You still have me. I have you, and that's enough. You'll always be my wife." So always meant accepting a permanent threesome, meant muting myself, blinding myself. If I couldn't tolerate Skylar, I forfeited the title of wife. He'd handed himself the perfect excuse, because I couldn't give him children. Of course I could tolerate Skylar. I'd been married to Donovan 10 years, my best youth belonged to him and his company. After fighting side by side to conquer the world, hand everything over? Impossible. Donovan was touched by my understanding, but how foolish he was. Did he truly know the measure of my understanding? The day after I discovered Skylar, Leo moved into the cliffside villa. Looking at that young face gave me a fierce thrill of revenge. "How much will it cost to keep you?" "Name it." "An aging woman whose last currency is cash." Leo studied me a long time, then said, "Not much, just 3 meals a day." I gave him a card. Every month I wire 200,000 due. Lars to it. On every night Donovan spent with Skylar, I was in that villa. I hated him, so deeply that only this revenge could give my mangled heart an outlet. And Leo was sweet, obedient. He loved my eyes, stroking them again and again. "Lady, you're beautiful. I adore you, lady." No doubt he was a professional. A young man's praise pulled me, momentarily, out of the self-doubt left by betrayal. I was old and rich, nothing more. But he called me beautiful. He seemed blind to the fine lines, cherishing only what he claimed to love, acting so flawlessly you couldn't spot a seam. I asked him once, "Did you take classes for this?" He laughed softly, finger trailing from my eye to my chin. "Loving you, lady, needs no training. A diligent boy." So later I upped the card to 300,000 a month. For 3 years I kept him. At times I even thought I might go on like this forever, just as Donovan kept Skylar for 5, never tiring. 5 years. I thought back to my own 5th anniversary with Donovan. That year I lost our baby and, desperate to give him a child, drank bitter herbal tonic every day. Donovan grew busier, more perfunctory. I could no longer catch a flicker of love in his eyes. Even the rare times we were together, he seemed spent. He always said, "Raven, work drains me. I just want sleep. Raven, stop trying, even if I give it my all, you still won't conceive." He repeated, "I'm exhausted, you can't get pregnant," pushing me into anxiety, into guilt. In truth, those were excuses. He wasn't worn out by work, he was worn out by Skylar. He avoided me not because I was infertile, but because he had her. How much stamina does a 32-year-old man have, shuttling between two beds? My thoughts drifted until fatigue closed my eyes. Leo massaged my temples, easing the knots one by one. When I finally relaxed, I told him, "Leo, find yourself a girlfriend." His hands froze, his breathing deepened, then the kneading resumed, deliberately calm. "Why? You should go back to a normal life. Is Lady tired of me?" His voice was low, almost angry, yet the pressure of his fingers stayed perfect. He always knew how to care for me. What did I do wrong? I have a husband. He's a scumbag. But he's still my husband. I looked him in the eye. "Leo, I'm going back to my marriage." At last his hand stopped. He yanked me upright, glaring. "Have you forgotten there's already another woman in that so-called marriage?" 3 years. From blazing hatred to cool indifference, I'd learned to take it in stride. I have my ways of handling her. I can't let my husband find out about you. It would damage my position. Leo was finally furious. "Raven, you'll regret this." For the first time he called me Raven, not Lady. After he left, I had the locks changed, the rooms emptied, and the villa leased at a premium to a young couple. These past few days Donovan had been visibly cheerful, coming home often, even bringing gifts. The skincare serum I loved, the bird nest soup I craved, fresh flowers. He devoured the dishes I cooked, sighing contentedly, "Raven, no one is as thoughtful as you." I smiled faintly. "Naturally. My top priority is taking care of you. Only if you're well can I be happy and secure for the rest of my life." Moved, Donovan folded me into his arms and kissed my forehead. "Raven, you'll always be my wife. No one holds a higher place in my heart." Nestled against him, I beamed. "Donovan, those words are all I need." He hugged me even tighter. After a brief, tender moment, Donovan must have decided the coast was clear. Lulled by my trademark generosity, he finally broached it. "Raven, Skylar's pregnant. The nannies we hired can't seem to get it right." I was thinking. He stopped short, letting the sentence dangle while his eyes searched mine. I caught the cue and answered with my usual, buttersoft sweetness. "If Skylar doesn't mind, let's have her move in." "Raven, I knew it, you're always the understanding one." He kissed my forehead again and added, "Raven, this baby is yours too, Sterling's child, our Sterling." The deliberate emphasis sounded almost farcical. I let my eyes glisten, deeply moved. "Donovan, thank you for giving me a child. See? When it comes to theatrics, we're all award winners." To welcome Skylar, to give her a worry-free pregnancy under this roof, I launched a full-scale shopping campaign. Donovan said Skylar's skin was delicate, only real silk bedding and sheets, only real silk pajamas. She loved jasmine, her body wash had to carry that exact scent. She was picky, drinking and cooking water had to be imported or she wouldn't touch it. In short, if you didn't know she'd started as a secretary turned pampered side piece, you'd swear she was a blue-blood heiress raised in gilded seclusion. Her level of pampering put actual heiresses to shame. Born without the pedigree, afflicted with the pedigree's ailments. Blair, society matron and true-born heiress, snatched the meticulous sheaf of A4 notes out of my hand and slapped it on the table with a cold snort of contempt. Then she looked at me. "Only you would be this tolerant. If it were me, I'd have found someone to get rid of that baby already." Blair was born with a silver spoon, her whole life a silk-lined glide, every hardship relegated to marriage. 10 years wed, and by her own count she's seen everything imaginable. The mistresses she's caught could line up from her front door to France. She's thrown tantrums, she's come to blows. Eventually they agreed to play separately, their dynastic union ties too many interests for divorce to be practical. As long as no child appears, they can wink at one another's escapades. Living in quiet détente like theirs? I wouldn't object. In this circle you witness enough to stop believing in everlasting love long ago. What you can actually hold, real property, real money, that's the real deal. Too bad I'm not like them. They have children, pedigrees, leverage, backstops. Me? Nothing. Do. Novan and I can never settle into peaceful coexistence. Our only options are victor and vanquished. I asked Blair, "Did you find the girl I asked for?" She arched a brow. Naturally. I'm reliable. Take a look. She slid a photo across the table, a girl in a simple white sundress, sweet and immaculate, her smile echoing a younger me. Exactly Donovan's type. Blair said, little thing's name is Hazel. Poor family, parents gone, living with her grandparents and a kid brother. She needs money but has principles. I told her your story, she was outraged, said she'd help. Only she thinks your offer's too generous, she wants half. At that, I couldn't help thinking of Leo. Not much. Just 3 square meals. I smiled. Blair studied me. Feeling better? I nodded. The young are still pure. Depends who. The one cozying up to your husband is anything but. She tilted her chin toward the entrance. Donovan appeared, Skylar tucked under his arm. Skylar called out from a distance, lady. Still smiling, I watched Blair hoist her Hermes bag. I'm off. Another second and I'd fling my latte in that woman's face. Lady, I'll be counting on your care from now on. Once Blair left, Skylar stepped up, all docile innocence. My pleasure. I brushed her belly lightly. You're the one laboring to give Sterling its next heir. The real hardship is yours, isn't it, Donovan? Skylar stiffened at my touch. When Donovan chimed in, Raven's right, her pout deepened. She tugged his sleeve. Husband, my stomach hurts, help me sit. Before he could move, I slipped an arm around her. I'll do it. Skylar's pregnant, we must be gentle. You men don't know your own strength, you might hurt her. My solicitude won Donovan's gentle praise. Raven, you think of everything. I shot him a coquettish glance. Took you long enough to notice? It could have passed for playful banter between lovers. Skylar's face darkened. Probably hoping to shame me, she said sweetly, Lady really is as caring as husband claimed, so much better than that last housekeeper. We should have skipped hiring her and let Lady do it from the start. With a single phrase she equated me with the help. Youth has its merits, and its blind spots. How could Skylar grasp the steel a woman forges after years battling in boardrooms and bedrooms? Family always takes better care of family, I answered, my gaze drifting to her belly. Besides, this is your child, and mine. My baby is mine, not yours. You must be baby crazy. Skylar's voice spiked, eyes blazing. Under her glare I turned to Donovan in mock panic. He patted her hand. Raven has a point. We agreed she'd help raise the child once it's born, remember? Skylar pressed her lips together, shot him a look, and resumed her demure mask. 2 days later Skylar moved into the beachfront estate. Pregnancy and favoritism swelled her arrogance, her temper flared at the smallest cue. Donovan's patience, never generous, wore thin, initial coaxing worked, but constant drama drained him. Sterling's workload was backing up, frantic, he turned to me for rescue. While he played nursemaid I held the executive fort. When he clocked in at the office, I played gracious hostess at home. Barren hen clucking around the house, don't you feel ashamed? Why wait until after I give birth? Leave now. With Donovan away, Skylar turned vicious, snapping and snarling at every turn. I simply kept my temper and carried on tending her. Eat more grapes, big eyes for the baby, and I'll enjoy looking at them. I set the rinsed clusters on a crystal plate, she swept it to the floor. Stop eyeing my child. Your child, my child, what's the difference? I corrected gently. It's Sterling's child, Donovan's, and mine. Skylar's face twisted, she jabbed a finger at me. Shameless. This is my baby with Donovan. I smiled, unruffled. Donovan is Sterling, I'm Sterling, how could Sterling's child belong to you? Enjoy the title while it lasts. The minute I deliver you'll be kicked to the curb, I'll be Sterling. She tossed her head, triumphant. I studied her and sighed, then shook my head. So very young. What do you mean? She scowled. Didn't you know Sterling is the empire Donovan and I built together? He can't function without me, why divorce me for you? I'm Sterling's legal representative. And you are? My voice drifted light as silk. 10 years building everything with Donovan, all we lacked was a child. My health failed, so yes, I should thank you. I met her eyes. Thank you for delivering a child for us. Relax, inside this house I'll coddle you better than anyone, so our baby enters the world safe and healthy. Skylar's composure cracked, she smashed every breakable object within reach. Donovan rushed home to a battlefield of porcelain shards. Skylar flung herself into his arms, weeping. He carried her upstairs and soothed her for over an hour. When she finally slept he came back down, accusation hardening his tone. Raven, what on earth did you say to Skylar? I stared, wide-eyed. Didn't you tell me this child would also be mine? A flicker of embarrassment crossed his face. Yes, but I hadn't explained that to her yet. You have to understand a pregnant woman's emotions. I lowered my gaze. I didn't realize. I thought she would be willing. Donovan walked up to me, pulled me into his arms, and gently patted my back. Raven, trust me. I'll keep every promise I made to you. Right now, though, the pregnant woman comes first. I understand. I nodded. He sighed again. Skylar just threw a tantrum. She's terrified that once the baby's born I'll abandon her. She feels she has no security, and she's frightened. I can't give her marriage. All I can do is. He stroked my cheek. Raven, let Skylar be Sterling's legal representative, all right? I blurted, how could that be okay? Donovan massaged his temples. I know it's unfair to you, but Skylar won't let it go. I'm afraid she'll upset the pregnancy. For the baby's sake, Raven, please swallow this. I bit my lip so hard it throbbed, wrestled with myself for a long moment, and finally nodded. All right. To make it up to me, he asked, Raven, what do you want? I'll buy you anything. I shook my head and burrowed my face against his shoulder. Donovan, I don't want a thing, only for you to keep me in your heart. 3 days later, Sterling's legal representative was smoothly transferred from me to Skylar. Skylar was over the moon. Parading through the beachfront estate, she crowed at me, just wait, everything that belongs to you will be mine. I arranged my features into a mask of misery, spun on my heel, and walked into the powder room. Facing the mirror, I smiled. In many ways, the legal representative is just the fall guy. A former secretary like Skylar doesn't even know that her head is too full of schemes to climb to the throne on some man's back. But is the summit really so easy to reach? And if you get there, how do you keep the whole peak from crumbling under your feet? By the second week I was looking after her, Skylar's morning sickness set in. She vomited morning, noon, and night, meals, drinks, until the air was thick with sour bile. So I arranged for the family physician to be on call around the clock to monitor her health and protect the baby. I kept everything running so smoothly that Donovan stopped worrying. Your workdays are hard enough, I told him. Leave Skylar to me and focus on the company. He did exactly what I wanted, while Skylar refused. She threw tantrum after tantrum, demanding Donovan 24 hours a day. At first he humored her, staying home, coddling her. After a while it grated on him. The more violent her retching became, the more disgust flickered across his face. He started finding excuses not to come home. Skylar smashed anything she could lift, I replaced every broken piece, and on the side Hazel brought me excellent news. She had landed a job at Sterling as Donovan's secretary. Whenever Skylar's theatrics left him with a splitting head, Zell murmured that she knew a little scalp and temple massage to ease the pain. When he lingered at Sterling, smoking away the hours rather than going home, she delivered a dinner she had cooked herself. I know Donovan, his parents divorced when he was small, he never felt the warmth of a family, so tiny kindnesses hit him like Cupid's arrows. Little by little, the way he looked at Hazel changed. She was sweet, thoughtful, still carried the pure, clean quality of a girl her age. And she looked exactly like me when I was young. The girl Donovan fell for at first sight, the type he has always wanted. Finally, today, Hazel messaged me. I mentioned the movie that just came out, let him know I'd love to see it. Tonight he's taking me to Riverdale. She texted me the cinema and screening time. I picked up my phone and booked 2 seats for the same show. Skylar's nausea had eased lately, except for the occasional after-meal heave, she was keeping food down. I told her, Donovan just called, Sterling has an evening meeting, so he'll be late. Skylar's face darkened. She snatched her phone to dial him, I stopped her. Cling too tightly and you'll push him away. Haven't you noticed how often he's frowning lately? Of course she had, her complexion turned ashen. There, now. If you're bored, let's step out. That hit movie everyone's talking about, want to catch it together? Skylar's instinct was to refuse, but I stepped in front of her. When Donovan comes back you'll have something fresh to discuss. Chat about the film, and maybe next time you two can go together. She hesitated, then nodded. She and Donovan hadn't generated a new topic in ages, she knew the silence was rotting what little affection they had left. The movie ended in anything but harmony. Skylar slapped Hazel hard across the face inside Riverdale, jabbing a finger and spitting homewrecker and bitch, over and over, playing the righteous wife. She'd completely forgotten she herself was the other woman she was scheming about. Hazel's eyes were red and swollen, stoking Donovan's pity, yet he still couldn't bring himself to scold Skylar. In the end he looked to me for rescue. I led Hazel out. Outside Riverdale I spotted Leo, he had chosen the same showing. As the farce broke up he followed us. Passing me, he bent to my ear. Lady, this is the life you want? Walking Hazel to the curb, she asked curiously, "You know Leo?" My pulse jumped. "You know him? High school alumnus, back from grad school. Big money family, that's all I've heard." After she left, I stood outside Riverdale for a long moment, stunned. Rich kid? Leo? I had always assumed he was one of the escorts at the members-only lounge. The night we met he wore the house-issue black suit. And a face like that. If he's a second-generation heir who doesn't need cash, why did he let me keep him? Before I could think further, a hand clamped around my arm. Leo dragged me into the alley alongside the cinema. He covered my mouth. "Lady, not a sound." We waited until Donovan helped Skylar into the car and drove off before he released me. "You lied to me?" I gasped. He stared. "Lied about what? You're not a gigolo?" He snorted. "Never said I was. You don't lack money. Why let me sponsor you?" He kept his gaze on me. "You tell me." I refused to believe a 23-year-old man could fall for a 33-year-old woman. That would be laughable, absurd. Skylar and Donovan plunged into a crisis of trust, screaming, shrieking, chaos everywhere. And I stepped back just enough to watch with cool detachment. "Raven, I'm so tired," Donovan groaned, sinking into the sofa, rubbing his temples. "Why can't Skylar be obedient and reasonable like you?" I stayed silent. He clasped my hand. "Raven, talk to her. Tell her to stop before it's too late. After she gives birth I'll treat her well. How many women will be enough?" He froze. I looked him straight in the eye. "Donovan, how many women will finally be enough?" "Raven." He tightened at his grip. "You are my wife, always." What a magnificent vow. "Donovan." Upstairs, Skylar quivered with rage. I stood at his side like a victor, smiling mockingly as she stared down at us. The madness finally broke her. She hated Donovan's infidelity, hated his lies. She flew down the stairs and hurled herself at him, clawed and bit. "You promised once the baby came you'd marry me. You swore you'd divorce her, you lied, you liar. Donovan, you bastard. I'm pregnant and you're already chasing the next skirt. Can't you live without a woman?" "That's enough, Skylar." At last he lost control and shoved her onto the sofa. "Don't forget who the real other woman is." Slumped on the cushions, she gaped at him in disbelief. Realizing what had slipped out, he still wouldn't apologize, not now, not with the battle lines drawn. "Skylar, where have I ever shortchanged you? Without me you'd be pulling $6,000 a month, some office cog. Could you live in a place like this, enjoy this life? Everything you eat, drink, use, only the best, even imported water. What more do you want? You should learn from Raven, see how a real Donovan behaves." With that, he stormed out of the beachfront estate, fury trailing every step. On the sofa Skylar sobbed prettily, tears raining down. I watched her, cold. "Cry if you must, just don't hurt the baby. After all, Donovan's child is still inside you." "This is my child, my child." Skylar glared at me with venomous eyes. I looked at her in unruffled calm and corrected her. "It's Sterling's child, Donovan's, and mine. As for you, you're nothing but the tool that carried it. You're the tool." Skylar shot to her feet. "I'll make Donovan divorce you, just wait and see." She spun around and stomped upstairs. I laughed softly behind her. "You really think you can make Donovan divorce me? You still can't read the situation, how ridiculous." "What do you mean?" Skylar whirled back, still glaring. I gave her a faint smile. "Do you know how much Donovan would lose in a divorce? Sterling is the empire we built together after we married. If we split, he'd have to hand over half of everything. You, on the other hand, are replaceable, plenty of women can take your place. He likes you today, but tomorrow it'll be someone else. That Hazel is 3 years younger than you, prettier, more agreeable, I quite like her myself. Once you've given birth and your body goes slack, you won't even compare to a 30-year-old like me, let alone a fresh young girl. You'll complete your mission, leave the baby behind, and be kicked to the curb, yet you still fantasize about becoming Sterling. Isn't that hilarious?" Skylar stood on the stairs, trembling. Too little experience, too fragile, she couldn't take pressure. A few sentences from me and her face was bloodless. "Ah." I sighed, all sympathy. "I hear Hazel's position at Sterling is the same one you used to hold, secretary. Why is Donovan so fond of secretaries?" "Shut up." Skylar screamed at me. I cooed in concern, "Lower your voice, don't frighten the baby in your belly. After all, that's Donovan's and my child." Shut up, Raven, shut up." Skylar shrieked like a madwoman. I ignored her. My phone chimed, Donovan had texted. "Raven, trouble you to hold the fort at home. Skylar's too emotional right now, I can't get through to her." I answered without expression. I've calmed her, but she won't listen, keeps yelling that I should divorce you. Donovan, I'm scared. Will you abandon me? Never, Raven. Trust me. I curved my lips in a cool smile, walked up to Skylar, and tilted the screen so she could read every word. See? Of course she saw. She snatched my phone and smashed it on the floor, then stared at me with hatred. Raven, you and Donovan will never, ever get what you want. I'd rather die first. Is that so? I gave a soft, contemptuous laugh. Donovan stayed away the whole night. First thing next morning Skylar stormed Sterling. The moment she left the beachfront estate, I tipped Hazel off. "SH. Ease on her way, watch yourself." Hazel answered instantly. "Got it." I informed Donovan too, but timed it so the message arrived seconds before Skylar reached Sterling. "Donovan, Skylar slipped out of the estate, she may be headed your way. Please don't fight, she's pregnant, don't risk the baby." Donovan had barely read the text when bedlam erupted outside his office. Skylar arrived just as Hazel stepped out of the elevator. Blinded by rage, she marched up and slapped Hazel across the face. That wasn't enough, she grabbed fistfuls of Hazel's hair, yanking and shrieking, "You slut, did your mother raise you to steal men? I'll beat you to death, bitch." The entire floor crowded over, trying to pull her off, but it was useless. Skylar looked like a fishwife, every word filth. Donovan shoved the door open and saw the scene, Skylar ugly and hysterical, Hazel pretty and tear-streaked. He hadn't bedded Hazel yet, he was still intoxicated, so of course he felt only heartache. Without a thought for pregnant Skylar, he wrenched her arms away and shoved her backward, shielding Hazel. "Skylar, if you want to throw a tantrum, do it at home, don't disgrace Sterling." Skylar, already frantic, hurled herself at him, punching and cursing. "Bastard. Donovan, you're not human, you pushed me for this whore? Why don't you go die, you." "Enough." Bang. Donovan flung her off with all his strength. Skylar's back slammed into the wall, she doubled over, clutching her belly. "My baby, the baby. Ambulance, call an ambulance." Donovan panicked. He scooped her up and sprinted to Riverdale. The child couldn't be saved. Donovan's eyes were bloodshot. While Skylar watched, I hugged him and murmured, "It's all right, Donovan. We'll have more children, Skylar's still young, there'll be others." Skylar laughed crazily from the bed. "Good riddance, good the baby is gone." Donovan stared, stunned. "Skylar, what are you saying?" She cackled. "You wanted me as your breeding machine? Dream on. Die, both of you, just die." While she raved I led Donovan out. "I'm sorry, Donovan." My eyes glistened. If I hadn't clung to the title of Sterling so long, Skylar wouldn't have spiraled like this. She had no status, yet stayed 5 years, once pregnant she still feared you'd drop her for someone new. I should have let go long ago. "You're 35, you can't be childless." I drew a deep breath, as though the decision cost me everything. "Donovan, let's divorce." "Raven, you." He started to speak, I looked up, gently straightened his collar, spoke with the devotion of a woman who loved him most. "Donovan, these years with you have been enough. I can never give you children. I'll walk away without claiming a single share of Sterling, just keep a few properties under my name and some cash to live out my days in peace." The words of he might have spoken dissolved. He crushed me in an embrace and said things that moved only himself. "Raven, I've wronged you all these years. Even divorced, you'll always be my true wife. If you ever need me, I'm still your husband. Donovan." The tears I shed at Riverdale exhausted every ounce of my acting skill. With no equity to divide, the divorce was finalized the next day. The estate we lived in, and every piece of real estate we owned except the one Donovan and Skylar had shared, was signed over to me. On top of that I received $70 million in cash. After Skylar's spectacle, Hazel had valid grounds to resign and slipped away unscathed. Donovan, desperate for a child, promised Skylar they'd build a proper life together. Once her post-miscarriage month was up, they'd get the marriage license. Skylar counted the days until she would officially become Sterling, but that day never arrived. Sterling was hit by a bombshell, an anonymous tip that its flagship product violated federal safety limits and contained carcinogens. Partners pulled out overnight. Donovan had no time for Skylar, he worked 24-hour shifts, but the hemorrhage wouldn't stop. Losses were so vast that once the cash flow rupture opened it became a bottomless pit. On the brink of bankruptcy he finally thought of me, only to discover every property, including our beachfront estate, had already been sold. He called, I gave him one sentence, "Your bankruptcy is none of my business," and blocked him. The financial crisis still raging, Sterling took a death blow. another whistleblower reported massive tax evasion. As Sterling's legal representative, Schuyler faced prison. Sterling collapsed, Donovan drowned in debt. The day creditors hounded him until he chose to jump off the roof, he survived, paralyzed for life. Blair met me for coffee. My husband's been coming home early lately, claims nothing's worth losing your wife over. He's terrified he'll end like Donovan. You've avenged every wife in this circle. I sipped my cappuccino, indifferent. People who betray love should pay the price. Blair laughed. No husband, no problem. You're flush and free, no one lives better than you. Some fun, then? I glanced at the barrage of messages Leo had sent over the past 2 months, stood up, and said, "Gotta run." "Where to?" "To find some fun." Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments. Feel free to share your perspectives, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.